Hey guys, Richard Hilliard here with Hilliard Homes for our very first edition of Expert Insights. I'm here today with Justin Tracht of Heflin Associates Insurance Agency. We've got some questions that we keep getting from clients about insurance, and I just wanted your thought on it.
Sure. Love
So, the first one is, why are insurance rates going up so much?
There's so many factors to that it's hard to explain, but the truth is the major thing is in October of 2020 we suffered Hurricane Zeta. Companies paid out a lot.
Okay.
They're trying to recoup losses. If another storm hits in a certain time frame, they need to make sure that they have the money set aside to pay claims again. And one of the other things right now is material costs are driving up replacement cost estimates. So, a few years ago before COVID, a sheet of plywood was $20.
Yeah.
You go to Home Depot today, it's like $60.
Yes,
and the truth is we write policies for replacement cost value. So if it costs me more to replace it when you hurt it, we need more coverage to do that. So those are the two main factors right now. And the truth is companies are finding interesting ways to offset that. A lot of the credit-driven companies are starting to come into the market. So people with good credit that have made good financial decisions through their life have that advantage now.
That makes sense. Totally makes sense. Is there anything extra you're doing to kind of combat those high rates?
It's such a volatile market down here because of the hurricanes. The truth is, I never expect to sit on a policy forever. Every few years, things like inflation guards set in. Policies have systems built in where 3 to 5% a year, the coverage will just go up. A lot of companies have other structures and contents, loss of use, or percentages of whatever we insure the home for. So as the dwelling coverage goes up, the rest of the coverages follow.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I just went through that myself with, my coverage going up because our values went up and, replacement costs. I totally get it. One of the other questions we get, and this is something everybody, because we live on the coast, deals with, is Flood 2.0.
So, flood is a real thing. Unfortunately, that's just the world we live in. One thing to keep in mind is that there's no such thing as a no flood zone. I know a lot of times mortgage companies go out, realtors go out during the purchase process and tell people, you're not in a flood zone. Impossible. No flood zones don't exist. There's low risk. Your mortgage cannot require you to take it, but what had happened is FEMA really thought they were going to sell a lot of those low-risk policies under preferred risk policy, which is basically you buy an amount, they'll throw in some content, same price for everybody. It didn't go as well as they'd hoped. So they're underfunded. What they decided to do is roll out a new 2.0 program, and basically they are trying to do away with flood zones, individually rate properties using latitude, longitude, and then applying appropriate pricing.
Okay.
The problem is a lot of the subsidies that came along with those, the discounts and, rate adjustments that you got, they did away with those. Okay. So there's a shift in the market right now. As of April this year, all the renewals started taking rate increases. Legislation has allotted an 18% rate increase and for most of those policies, so people are going to see their flood policies going up incrementally. Yeah. Truth is it's hard to tell how much where it's going to stop. We can go in with an elevation certificate and run a brand new quote and reasonably understand what that number is. Yeah. But until it gets there, you really just don't know.
Gotcha. So anybody looking in a flood zone basically really needs to consult with an expert such as yourself to kind of determine, hopefully, where the price will be within the next year or two.
Yeah, and the market's opened up a little bit. Like one of the advantages we're seeing is that some privatized markets are coming in. So instead of having to go to FEMA and buy a FEMA product through the National Flood Insurance Program, we can go to like Aon Edge or some of our other privatized options. It's usually a little bit cheaper. It seems to help people without elevation certificates, things like that. But the truth is the FEMA product's great because if you sell your home, it's the only kind of policy you can transfer. If you bought my house, I could give you my flood policy, and whatever's left on it, you can just retain and carry on in the future. So that's a nice touch, especially now, where, if you had to go out and get your own policy, you couldn't have that steady increase allotted by legislation. You just have to start at the highest end. So,
well, cool. That's great information to have. I hope our clients really appreciate it. Some great information from an expert like Justin can always help. His information will be on the screen here in just a second. If you guys have any questions, let us know. Again, my name is Richard. I'm with Hilliard Homes. This is Justin Tracht with Heflin Associates. You guys have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you.